Over the thousands of years of its existence, the Jedi Order went through a number of reformations that resulted in the establishment and codification of practices that would underpin the Order. By the time of the Phantom Menace, the Jedi Order had in place a set of rules and guidelines in regard to bringing new students into the Order and beginning their training as a Jedi. One of these established rules included an age restriction for the training of new students, with some exceptions allowed, wherein prospective Jedi were identified a short time after birth and first trained as infants or very young children. Under these rules, no adults could be brought into the Order to initiate their training as a Jedi. But were Jedi always trained from birth as infants or very young children? In this video expose, I will describe how the Jedi Order operated when they did not have an established age restriction on the training of new prospective members, and explain the events that caused the Order to evolve and implement the rule of training new Jedi from birth. During the early generations of the Jedi Order, the Order's rules regarding the training of students were significantly more loose, as established rules and practices had not yet been codified, particularly when it came to the age in which new students could be brought into the Order and trained. During these early days, a master's decision to initiate the training of a new student was unquestioned and not interfered with, no matter the age of the master's new student. The absence of age restrictions during this period resulted in Jedi Masters taking on adult apprentices and completing their training at different speeds. The lack of codified rules and guidelines regarding the age in which new Jedi could be trained within the Order came to a head during the final years of the new Sith Wars. A devastating conflict between the Jedi and Sith that lasted from roughly 2,000 years to 1,000 years before A New Hope, the Jedi saw for themselves the consequences that were created by the absence of any age restrictions that applied to the training of new Jedi. In order to defeat the Sith and bring an end to the new Sith Wars, Jedi Lord Hoth hastily established an ad hoc military force in the final years of the conflict, named the Army of Light, to directly combat the actions taken by the Sith Brotherhood of Darkness, led by the Dark Lord of the Sith, Lord Khan. The Army of Light was comprised of Jedi Knights within the Order, as well as individuals who were devoted to the Jedi Lords like Hoth, and troops of the Galactic Republic. Therefore, the Army of Light led by Lord Hoth was a ragtag collection of Force-sensitive and non-Force-sensitive individuals alike. However, as the conflict continued on in the final years of the war, particularly in the Ruusan campaign, the Army of Light took heavy losses and ultimately faced a situation wherein the forces of Lord Hoth were low on both resources and soldiers. Facing this dire situation and the strong potential of losing the war, Lord Hoth made the decision to round up and recruit any and all Force-sensitive individuals within Republic-controlled space, in order to replenish the Army of Light's Jedi ranks and replace those Jedi who had been lost, despite the fact that they had never been trained or brought into the Jedi Order. This move saw Force-sensitive adults and non-children being brought into the ranks of the Jedi. Ultimately, Lord Hoth and the Army of Light prevailed over the Brotherhood of Darkness and emerged victorious in the new Sith Wars. In fact, after the 7th Battle of Ruusan, the final battle of the conflict, the Jedi were under the false belief that their victory had brought about the complete destruction of the Sith and their annihilation right down to the last man. Under this false assumption, the Jedi believed that they created a situation in which the galaxy would be afforded a lasting peace. Driven by the newfound peace and a wave of sweeping change that was consuming the Republic and being put into action through the reforms brought on by the Ruusan Reformation, the Jedi Order was also motivated to reform and codify its own practices under the leadership of Grandmaster Fay Coven and other forward-thinking Jedi. Having learned from the experiences of the Ruusan campaign of the new Sith Wars, the Jedi banned adults from entering the Order as they were proven to be more unpredictable and susceptible to the pull of the dark side. Therefore, having created the new Acquisition Division, the Order implemented a new age restriction on all new students, whereby all Jedi initiates were restricted to infants and very young children, and underwent centralized training on Coruscant. It was hoped that this new ban on adults entering the Order would help to prevent a resurgence of the Sith within the galaxy. To assist the Jedi with this new rule, the Galactic Republic passed a law that required all planets who were members to examine all newborns for Force sensitivity. So there we have it, how the Jedi went from an order of loose rules that had no age restrictions on new members, and that saw masters accepting adult apprentices, to an order with codified rules that banned all adults from entering the order and only trained children from birth. Until they didn't, and it ended pretty badly. We love making these videos, so why not subscribe for more fun Star Wars theories and discussions? Also, if you enjoyed the video, think about giving a like or leaving a comment. If not for me, for I guess this isn't morally questionable.